The council chamber had always been loud, filled with layered voices and endless argument. On this cycle, silence ruled instead. Screens glowed with data no one wanted to speak about. One by one, human systems showed the same result: empty, dark, gone. At first, the clerks assumed an error. Human space was vast, busy, and impossible to miss. Yet every sensor sweep returned the same truth: no ships in orbit, no stations active, no civilian traffic. Humanity had vanished without a single distress call. Counselors shifted in their seats as unease spread. Humanity did not lose wars. They did not flee threats. They argued loudly, traded fiercely, and defended their borders with calm confidence. A species like that did not simply disappear overnight. Historical logs were pulled up, then slowed down frame by frame. The footage chilled even the oldest minds present. Human fleets had departed in perfect order. No panic, no collisions. Engines dimmed, weapons sealed, formations flawless. The silence of it was wrong. Other species ran when afraid. Humans prepared. Every ship left its post only after another took its place, until nothing remained. It was not retreat. It was completion. A junior analyst spoke, voice unsteady, pointing to timestamps. The departure had begun decades earlier, slowly, patiently, hidden beneath routine traffic and legal exits. Humanity had planned this long before anyone noticed. That was when fear truly entered the chamber. Humans were known for emotion, but also for endurance. They tolerated insult longer than most. They endured loss longer than most. When they finally acted, it was never sudden. Trade data flashed next. Entire supply chains collapsed the moment human commerce vanished. Shipyards stalled. Medical worlds reported shortages. Even council defense grids showed growing instability. Humanity had been supporting far more than anyone admitted. Some counselors scoffed, calling it coincidence. Others remembered past warnings. Humans had asked for reforms, asked for equal votes, asked for restraint against expansion wars. Each request was delayed, diluted, or denied. A memory surfaced of a human ambassador, calm even while ignored. "If we must choose," he had said, "we will choose silence over blood." At the time, the chamber laughed. Now no one did. Long-range sensors suddenly updated. Beyond known space, faint signals appeared. Not active transmissions, but markers. Navigation points. Quiet, stable, precise. Someone had built roads through the dark, and they were human. The council ordered probes launched. None returned. It's not destroyed, just gone. No debris, no signals. It was as if space itself had closed behind them, leaving nothing to follow. Whispers spread of ancient records, forgotten species that once vanished the same way. Those records ended with a single line. They left so the galaxy could survive their answer. Security footage from old human stations was replayed. Final messages looped on abandoned walls. Simple words. Calm words. "We warned you. We waited. We chose not to strike." The emotional weight crushed the chamber. Humanity had been angry many times before. This was different. This was control. A species choosing restraint when power was available was far more dangerous than one that raged. A senior counselor finally spoke, voice hollow. "If they left together," he said, "then it means they agreed." No one questioned him. Humanity rarely agreed on everything. For them to unite in silence meant something unforgivable had occurred. Military forecasts updated without request. Every simulation ended the same way. If humans returned, council defenses lasted minutes. It's not because humans were brutal, but because they were efficient. The stars outside the chamber looked unchanged, yet every counselor felt smaller. Humanity had not vanished to hide. It stepped aside, giving the galaxy time to face itself. One final human signal activated without warning. It was not a threat. It was not a demand. It's just a recorded voice, steady and tired. "When we return," it said, "it will not be to argue." The transmission ended. No coordinates followed. No date, only certainty. The council finally understood the cost of ignoring a patient species. Silence was not peace. Silence was mercy. As the chamber lights dimmed, no one voted. No one argued. The galaxy had lost humanity's voice, and in its place remained something far heavier: anticipation. The days after humanity's silence felt normal at first. Ships still moved, councils still met, markets still opened. Many leaders convinced themselves that humans had finally withdrawn from galactic politics, tired of arguing with lesser minds. The first cracks appeared in shipping lanes. Cargo convoys waited for escorts that never arrived. Human patrol routes, once taken for granted, were empty. Pirates tested borders they once feared, and no human warning shots followed. A trade world on the eastern rim reported delays. Then shortages. Human-built logistics systems shut down quietly, one by one, as licenses expired. No errors appeared, no overrides worked. Everything ended exactly as designed. Council economists assured everyone it was temporary. Other species would adapt, they said. Yet no one could replace human efficiency. Their systems were simple, strong, and flexible. Others had grown dependent without realizing it. Medical sectors were next. Human biotech labs had shared open designs freely for decades. Now updates stopped. Equipment still worked, but without calibration, failure rates climbed. Lives were lost slowly, quietly, without drama. A counselor suggested seizing abandoned human stations. Fleets were sent. What they found were empty halls and locked cores, no traps, no bombs, just silence and systems that refused foreign commands. Engineers tried to force access. Every attempt failed. Human code was not hostile. It simply ignored those it did not recognize. Doors stayed closed, reactors stayed stable. Nothing broke. Nothing yielded. The mistake came when the Council declared human assets forfeit. Laws were passed in haste. Claims were filed. Flags were planted on empty worlds. The galaxy told itself that silence meant surrender. Old allies of humanity protested. Smaller species warned the Council to stop. They remembered how humans fought when pushed. But the Council believed power meant numbers, and humans were now gone. Then border wars erupted. Without human mediation, old grudges turned violent. Defense networks faltered. Response times slowed. The Council ordered emergency mobilization, unaware that humans had designed most of those systems. Command delays grew worse. Targeting data conflicted. Navigation errors increased. It was not sabotage. It was absence. Humanity had been the quiet glue holding chaos apart. A classified report reached the inner chamber. It detailed human warnings over the last 50 cycles, requests for limits, calls for restraint, pleas to stop expansion wars. Request marked as ignored. One counselor remembered laughing at those warnings. Humans were emotional, they said. Too soft, too moral. Now that memory burned with shame as casualty numbers climbed across the stars. The archives revealed something worse. Humanity had paid for many systems themselves. They had asked for nothing in return. Only stability, only time, only respect. The galaxy had given them none. Protests spread on core worlds. Citizens demanded answers. Leaders offered speeches instead. They promised strength, promised unity. None promised wisdom. Scouts sent toward human space returned with nothing. No new signals, no drift debris. Even old beacons were gone. Humanity had not left traces. They had erased their footsteps. Ancient texts were reopened by desperate scholars. Stories of patient species. Builders who left when ignored. Judges who returned when silence failed. The patterns were too similar to dismiss. Military planners ran simulations again. Without humans, victory chances dropped below acceptable levels. With humans returning as unknowns, the results were catastrophic. The numbers spoke clearly. The Council chose not to listen. The second mistake followed quickly. Resolution condemned humanity's departure as abandonment. It stripped them of status and rights. The vote passed with loud approval and hollow confidence. Moments later, a human beacon activated on the chamber floor. No alarms sounded. No defenses reacted. It projected old footage of shared victories, rebuilt worlds, and saved fleets. The final image showed humans standing beside others, bleeding and smiling. A simple message followed. We stood with you when it mattered. The beacon shut down. Nothing else happened. No threat came. No attack followed. that frightened them more than war ever could. In distant space, something shifted. Sensors caught a brief alignment beyond known maps. Precise, measured, human. The Council's first mistake was believing silence meant weakness. Their second mistake would be assuming mercy lasted forever. The exploration fleets moved carefully beyond the last mapped stars. Crews spoke little, watching sensors that showed too much order for empty space. Human routes appeared like faint scars, straight and deliberate, cutting through regions once thought impossible to cross. The first relic was found drifting alone, untouched by time. It was a human beacon, powered but silent. When scanned, it opened calmly, projecting maps far more detailed than council charts, as if humans had memorized the dark itself. Engineers felt uneasy. The beacon did not hide, it waited. Its data showed human fleets practicing retreats, not defeats. Every path led outward, away from conflict zones, planned with patient care. Further in, abandoned stations appeared. No damage marked them. Air still cycled. Lights glowed softly. Humans had not fled in fear. They had left homes behind like sealed promises. Crew members explored halls filled with symbols of shared history. Murals showed humans fighting beside others, shielding weaker ships, rebuilding burned worlds. These were not monuments to pride, but reminders of choice. At the heart of one station, a terminal activated. A human voice spoke gently, explaining basic truths. Strength without restraint destroys itself. Power without patience invites ruin. The words were simple, yet heavy. Some officers argued it was propaganda. Others felt shame. Humanity had warned them clearly, again and again. The preparation was not for conquest, but for separation. As fleets moved deeper, navigation grew easier instead of harder. Invisible markers guided them safely, correcting errors before they formed. Humans had reshaped space quietly, making survival possible for those who followed. Then came the war simulations. Hidden vaults unlocked without resistance. Inside were recorded projections of battles that never happened. Humans defeating combined fleets in minutes, then stopping, choosing not to finish. Commanders stared at the data in silence. The simulations showed restraint built into every victory. Humans had practiced ending wars without erasing civilizations. Mercy was not weakness, it was discipline. A recovered log detailed council decisions over decades. Every ignored request was listed. Every broken promise recorded. Humanity had kept perfect memory, not to punish but to decide when to leave. Fear spread through the crews. This was not preparation for revenge. This was preparation for absence. Humans had built a galaxy that could survive without them, even if it chose not to. Further out, they found shipyards hidden within nebulae, massive, silent, complete. Fleets could be built there without detection. The scale was beyond imagination, yet everything remained untouched. A single message repeated across the shipyards. Not ready. No explanation followed. The meaning was clear. Humanity had judged the galaxy and stepped away before becoming monsters. Back in council space, reports caused panic. Leaders demanded these findings be sealed. Too late. Rumors spread faster than control. Citizens learned the truth of human preparation. Smaller species began to regret their votes. They remembered how humans defended trade routes without payment, how they stood between warlords and civilians without applause. Ancient scholars confirmed the pattern. Species that planned like this returned only once. Not to conquer, but to correct. The galaxy had reached the edge of that cycle. Exploration fleets tried to push further, but paths narrowed. Guidance faded. Space felt closed. Humans had set boundaries, even in their absence. A final relic was discovered at the limit. Simple structure, barely armed, yet unbreakable. It carried one last message meant for anyone still listening. The recording showed a human leader, older, tired, but calm. He spoke of patience wearing thin, of mercy misunderstood, of silence chosen to avoid blood. He ended with a warning, not a threat. We prepared so you could learn. If you did not, we prepared for that too. The relic shut down forever. No signal followed. The path beyond vanished from sensors. Humanity had drawn a line and stepped behind it. Council worlds erupted in debate and fear. The echoes of preparation were louder than any weapon. Humanity had not been running. They had been waiting. And waiting, the galaxy realized too late, was the most human act of all. Sensors across the outer rim flickered without warning. Not alarms, not errors, but perfect alignment shifts. Space itself seemed to straighten. Navigators felt it before machines confirmed it. Something vast was moving with purpose, and it did not hide. The first fleet to vanish did not send a distress call. One moment it existed, the next it was gone from every spectrum. It's no debris, no energy spike. Just absence, clean and exact, like a sentence erased. Panic spread faster than any signal. Border commanders demanded permission to fire at shadows. The council delayed arguing procedure, while stars went dark one by one. Humanity's return did not announce itself with noise. Old human corridors reactivated across space. Silent routes lit up, correcting gravity and distance. These paths ignored all non-human commands, yet allowed travel, guiding fleets whether they wished it or not. Civilian worlds watched unfamiliar constellations form overnight. Lines of light stretched between systems, too straight to be natural. Children pointed. Elders remembered warnings spoken long ago and dismissed too easily. A council defense platform engaged the first visible contact. Its weapons fired perfectly. The shots never reached their targets. They curved away gently, like they had been told no. Then the platform shut down. Power faded, weapons locked, crews unharmed but helpless. A message appeared on every screen, written in simple human language. Stand down. This is not war. Military pride shattered. Humanity was not attacking. They were removing the option to resist. It was control without cruelty, dominance without rage. Entire fleets found their navigation rewritten mid-flight. Ships slowed, turned, and stopped, as if guided by unseen hands. Commanders screamed orders that systems politely ignored. The council finally called an emergency session. Voices overlapped with fear instead of arrogance. Reports confirmed the truth. Human forces were everywhere and nowhere, present without being seen. A single human vessel appeared above the central chamber world. It was small, unarmed by council standards, yet nothing could touch it. It waited, motionless, patient. When it spoke, it did so on every channel at once. The voice was calm, steady, almost kind. It did not threaten. It did not accuse. It simply stated facts. You were given time, the voice said. You were given silence. You chose neither wisdom nor restraint. Some counselors demanded surrender talks. Others demanded retaliation. Humanity responded by disabling the chamber's orbital weapons without interrupting the speech. We are not here to destroy, the voice continued. We are here to end what you allowed to grow. Across the galaxy, warlords lost command of their fleets. Black markets collapsed as credits froze. Expansion armies found supply lines gone. The chaos they caused returned to them, contained and precise. Citizens watched as corrupt leaders were isolated, not killed, but exposed. Evidence streamed publicly, records humans had kept quietly for decades. Truth spread faster than fear. There was no escape. Hyperspace lanes bent back on themselves. Hidden worlds were revealed. Humanity's preparation turned the galaxy transparent. A counselor cried out, asking why mercy had ended. The human voice answered without anger. Mercy requires learning. You chose repetition. Still, no cities burned, no planets broke. Humanity judged systems, not species. Innocents were protected automatically, human code placing lives above victory. Ancient defense relics activated in harmony with human signals, recognizing authority older than the council itself. Humanity had earned loyalty through action, not decree. The galaxy realized then that this return was not sudden. It was the final step of a long plan. Every move measured, every outcome predicted. A final message spread across the stars. This will end when balance is restored. Resistance will only delay relief. Silence followed, heavier than before. Not the silence of absence, but of submission to something undeniable. The judgment had arrived not as fire, but as order. And the galaxy understood too late that humanity's patience had been the greatest weapon ever forged. The galaxy did not burn when humanity finished its judgment. Instead, systems stabilized. Wars froze in place. Weapons powered down as if tired of waiting. The sudden calm felt unnatural, heavier than chaos ever had. Council leaders were removed without chains or blood. Their access vanished. Their commands no longer mattered. Humanity did not execute them. They isolated them, forcing them to face what they had allowed. Across thousands of worlds, citizens watched truth unfold in real time. Hidden records surfaced. Deals made in shadows became public. Humanity had kept everything. Not for revenge, but for the moment honesty became unavoidable. Some leaders begged for forgiveness. Others demanded trials. Humanity offered neither. They restored balance first, believing justice meant nothing without stability beneath it. Human fleets finally became visible, not as armadas, but as guardians. They hovered near fragile worlds, reinforcing shields, repairing grids, calming panic. Their presence brought order instead of fear. Children on distant planets watched human ships rebuild cities destroyed by wars the Council had ignored. No speeches followed, no flags were planted. Humanity worked, then moved on. The Council chambers stood empty for the first time in history. Its doors remained open, but no one entered. Authority had lost meaning without trust to support it. A message reached every inhabited world, spoken in clear and simple human language. It explained what had happened, why silence had been chosen, and why silence had ended. "We stepped away," the voice said, "because staying would have made us what we opposed." The words carried no pride, only certainty. Humanity announced a new structure. Not an empire, not a council, but a system of responsibility. Power would be temporary. Oversight constant. Abuse answered immediately. Some worlds resisted at first. Their defenses failed gently. Human systems blocked weapons without harming crews. Resistance ended when people realized they were safer than before. Old enemies found themselves unable to fight. Borders softened. Trade resumed under human mediation, fair and enforced. The galaxy began to heal despite itself. Scholars later called it the quiet reordering. No great battle marked it, no final explosion. Just a steady return of stability where chaos once thrived. The greatest shock came when humanity announced limits on itself. They set rules even their own fleets could not break. Power restrained by design, not promise. A former counselor asked why humanity bothered. Why not rule openly after proving dominance? The answer was simple: because rule was never the goal. Humanity revealed what silence had cost them. Worlds abandoned, families separated, years spent waiting while others suffered. Their restraint had been a sacrifice, not a tactic. The galaxy finally understood. Silence was not weakness. It was patience stretched to its limit. As systems stabilized, human ships began to pull back again. Not leaving, not hiding, just stepping aside, watching, ready, but no longer intervening. A final transmission echoed through the stars. "We will not save you from yourselves again," it said. "What comes next is your choice." Fear returned, but it was different now. It carried responsibility instead of dread. Humanity's judgment ended without applause, without monuments. Only results remained. The galaxy survived not because humans fought, but because they chose when not to. The story closed, not with an ending, but with a warning carried softly across space. If silence ever returned, it would not be mercy twice. And if you believe humanity was right to judge without hate, to rule without cruelty, and to prove strength through restraint, then remember this story, because judgment only sleeps. And humanity is still watching. Subscribe for the next one.